Hey guys, I'm here for a draft analysis. That's right, this is a draft analysis for BFR, formerly Battles for Rights, now the Battle Frontier and Resort. This is a league that I am the owner and operator of. I'm the head admin, and I've been playing in this league for 12 seasons, but I've never uploaded one to the channel. If you're a friend from VBLS, BFR mainly does singles, and so this will be a singles league. But, check it out, see if it's interesting to you. I'll definitely be having fun this season. Yeah, and if you're here from BFR, thanks for checking out the video. Let me know if you want to, see more videos this season, or if this is kind of like, all right, I don't know, if you should be spending, time making stuff like this. But anyways, thought I would, take singles content, I shouldn't say seriously, but put a little thought into it, see if it was something that I wanted to have some fun with, give back to the community that I love so much. So today it's a cozy draft analysis because I'm having a baby. It's a team. This is a league of many firsts. It's the first time I'm uploading a singles league to the channel. It's my first time uploading a BFR season to the channel. BFR, I've won multiple championships. I've played in all 12 seasons that we had, plus our off-season League War event. And I've uploaded a few seasons of VBL to the channel, but I thought, I love BFR and I run it. May as well. It's a wonderful community. It's also my first time playing singles in Generation 9. I've played VGC, of course, but I took a break from singles for a while. I think the high power level really just didn't interest me. I didn't want to face off against how offensive everything was, because all the Pokemon that were introduced this generation are so freaking offensive. This league, this season, we've created a new format, kind of, which is we banned the top 20 or 30 Mons. So stuff like Chi-Yu, Palafin, Garchomp, Gliscor are not here. All of the really offensive behemoths. And so the top tiers are stuff like Iron Moth and Hearthflame Ogerpon without terastallizing. And some other stuff that's just a little bit more manageable than what the typical draft league top tiers are, which is what made me want to play singles. There's also a simple challenge here. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of challenge seasons in the future, which is that this is my first time using all of these Pokemon. They're exclusively Paldean and Hisuian Pokemon that I've never used in singles draft, so here we go. We're having undecouplets. That's right! I'm pregnant with 11 babies, and they're all going to start spewing out of my vagina. I hope you're excited to meet them. Aren't they adorable? This is a picture of me and all of my babies just after they came out of the birthing canal. So, I think they're cute. I really love them. And I'm excited for you to get a chance to meet them all. So, first is Meowscarada, the firstborn child and my first pick of the draft. Because this is a lower power format, you can see that Meowscarada was actually one of the best Pokemon allowed. I liked it mainly because it was super freaking fast. It's probably one of the fastest top tier Pokemon, especially without using booster energy. So with that speed, it's going to be a really great revenge killer. It's also going to be a great just wall breaker and offensive Pokemon with strong moves and knockoff and Flower Trick, as well as stab on all of its moves with Libero if it wants to do coverage stuff. It's an offensive spiker, so I can use it to get up hazards and force Pokemon out to make progress that way. Of course, knockoff helps make progress as well. And it's a pivot. I click stab U-turn and get on out of there. I can run this Pokemon with a Choice Scarf. Well, that's not the best item. With a Choice Band, I was going to say. Choice Scarf is good too. With Heavy Duty Boots, with a Life Orb, with even something like an Assault Vest or Leftovers. It can do a lot. I can run it a lot of different ways, and it's a great first pick. I paired it with another starter from the Paldea region, Quaquaval. This Pokemon has a little bit more bulk than Meowscarada, but is a little slower, although in contrast to Meowscarada, who is very much a breaker and a revenge killer, this is a sweeper. This Pokemon will do great late game, and even in the middle of the game, it can set up and sweep and force a couple KOs before it goes down, thanks to Aqua Step, Moxie, Bulk Up, Swords Dance. Has good coverage as well, It got knockoff in the generational change, as well as flip turn, so I can use it as a pivot and as a knock user. And very importantly, it's a spinner. This generation in singles does not have a lot of removal. So getting a Pokemon that actually has it and can use it, that's one of my top tiers, I think is really important. Is it a bulky water? It has Roost. Maybe. This is the third baby, Glimora. I picked Glimora kind of late in the draft, but it actually is obviously a really key piece. Glimora is a great Pokemon. A perfect lead, gets up every hazard in the game besides webs. Super strong special breaker as well. I actually really like it as a Scarfer. Scarf Dazzling Gleam, Scarf Sludge Wave, Scarf Energy Ball, Scarf Earth Power, Scarf Power Gem are all really strong coverage. It also has Mortal Spin, which gives me a second removal option. And it's a Pokemon that learns Toxic, and it has a 100% accurate Toxic. And there are actually a good amount of Toxic Pokemon in this gen, but I think in a singles draft you should consider drafting some of them, because if you don't intentionally do it, you might not have any. Speaking of Toxic, Clodsire. He's a big teddy bear. He's the big teddy bear of the litter. He's a ground type. I wanted to take Iron Treads, and Iron Treads went. And this was my third pick, and it was the only ground type left from Paldea that I wanted to bring to games. But it's also really good. Clodsire is mediocre in VGC, but phenomenal in singles. Unaware makes it an incredible asset to my team for being able to just wall a lot of Pokemon that are going to be relying on setup. It's a special wall, so it can come in on pretty much any special attacker, unless they have, super effective stab against it. It'll take super effective non-stab hits easily, shrug them off with Recover, and then Toxic, Earthquake, set up hazards, or just even, stall them out with Recover. This Pokemon is my third hazard setter of these top 4 Pokemon. You can see that this is shaping up to be a bit of a hazard stack team, my third Toxic Spikes user, and also is another Toxic user, as mentioned before. Tinkaton! He's a little prankster, isn't he? Meow. This Pokemon is a Steel type and a Fairy type, which is a large reason why I wanted to draft it. But it's also just like a fast utility Pokemon. It's like base 93 speed or something, and so for defensive Pokemon being able to actually be fast is really interesting, to be able to encore opposing Pokemon into a setup move or into a status move that they're using, into substitute. It's also a switch into Dragon types. It's another knockoff user, and it's another rock setter. So now 4 of my 5 picks have hazard setting, and 2 of them have removal. So I think my hazards game is looking pretty good. And Tinkaton I think is just a really good Gloomon. It's a good one-time check to a lot of stuff with Thunder Wave knockoff, and it can also do some good damage with Gigaton Hammer. Kilowattrel, another super fast Pokemon. Another Revenge Killer like Meowscarada, and another Pivot with U-Turn or Volt Switch. I think it's good to have a fast electric Pokemon. It's good for me to have both a fast physical attacker and a fast special attacker. Not that Meowscarada can't run special, but Kilowattrel does it better. It's a good Revenge Killer, like it says here, with good coverage, good strong moves like Thunderbolt and Hurricane, and this is one of my Terra Captains. In this league, we have 15 points for Terra Captains, and the maximum point cost for a Terra Captain is 10. You get 1 to 3, so I spent 10 of my 15 total Terra points on Kilowattrel, who I think is going to be a really good Terra Sweeper. I have Terra Flying and Terra Electric on it to just use its stab moves to hit even harder, and then I have Terra Water on it, to become a Volt Absorb Pokemon with water, with a water type. Makes it only weak to grass, and lets me use Terra Water Terra Blast, which hits ground types, of course. And then my last Terra type is Terra Ground, which will hit the electric types that otherwise wall Kilowattrel's stabs. And ground types are just very good. The Bookworm, the Dunsparce. This Pokemon is deeply versatile, as you can see on the slide. It's a mixed wall, it's a setup sweeper, it has Glare, it has Stealth Rocks, it has Roost, it's a defensive pivot, it can switch in, take a hit, and then Baton Pass out. This Pokemon is really, really good. It's a mixed attacker, it can be a mixed defensive Pokemon. It just has a lot of stats, like every stat is high except for speed. 85 special attack is not great, but with Calm Mind and Boom Burst, it's pretty damn strong. It sets up hazards, it just does a lot of different stuff and can be a Swiss Army knife on this team. Kind of like a normal type Mew with recovery. Here we have Hisuian Typhlosion. This guy, in contrast to the Dunsparce, is probably my least versatile Pokemon. It's just going to be attacking every game, potentially clicking maybe Will-O-Wisp as the one status move besides like Substitute or Calm Mind. But it is a very strong Pokemon. It's a Fire type, it's a Ghost type. I wanted Skeledirge, but that got taken, so we got to take the other Fire Ghost starter to complete the trio. This Pokemon is largely going to be coming here with Scarf, Heavy Duty Boots, potentially Specs, just spamming Shadow Ball, spamming frickin' Infernal Parade, Overheat, or even Hex. Hex, I believe Infernal Parade only doubles damage against burned Pokemon, but Hex doubles against poisoned as well. I need to look that up, but with all my Toxic Spike support, this is a good Ghost type to be abusing that move. Speaking of Ghost types, we have another Ghost type and another Grass type in Sinistcha. This Pokemon is really here just to be another special breaker, and also a physical wall. So the Dunsparce is kind of my best physical wall right now. Sinistcha has similar physical bulk to the Dunsparce, but it has Strength Sap and Machigacha instead of the Dunsparce's Roost. And so the Dunsparce has more coverage, more rocks, but this Pokemon can switch in if I really need something to be like max defense helmet with Strength Sap. It can probably take 2 hits from most physical attackers, depending on whether it can leverage its typing, and then potentially set up in their face. My team with Tinkaton and Masquerada and Quaquaval and Clodsire seemed a little bit physical heavy, even though I do have Kilowattrel and Glamora, and so I wanted another strong special attacker besides Glamora, basically, because Kilowattrel is not that strong as a special attacker. Setup Sweeper as well, you know, this doesn't have Shell Smash like Poltergeist has, but it does have Calm Mind and Iron Defense, so maybe I can, you know, do something with that. Machigacha's a good move too, so yeah. Oh, I remember now. I remember why I drafted this. I forgot while I was making the presentation. I drafted this for a ground type switch in because Kilowattrel is not the most consistent switch into ground type moves, especially if it terastallizes. Neither is Meowscarada, but this Pokemon can switch in on ground types. That's what it's for. I forgot. Now I remember. Moving on. Avalugg, Hisuian Avalugg. This is my other Terra Pokemon. It's 4 points, which means I'm spending a total of 14 points on Terra Pokemon. I don't have a 1-pointer, so I would be able to make a 1-point Pokemon a Terra captain, but there were none that really made sense on my team. It's another spinner, so now I have 3 different removal options. Hopefully if Glamora and Quack don't look good in a game, at least Avalugg will, especially with Terra. Terrible typing, but that's its main flaw besides its low special defense. But just having high physical defense is really good in draft. It can switch on any physical attacker, especially the ones with low special attack who aren't going to be running mixed. And they're not going to really be taking on a coverage move for this because it can Terra. It's going to be able to Terra into a rock type to get rid of the ice weakness and to boost up its rock moves, but it's more likely to be Terraing either into a fighting type for boosted body presses, a ghost type for spin blocking, or a fairy type for just a good neutral defensive typing. It's another rocker, and it's clearly a absolute physical wall. You can't break through this thing physically, especially if I'm running something like Iron Defense Body Press. But even if I'm not, it has like, you know, 173 defense and like 117 HP, I think. Don't quote me on that. But very strong on the physical defense side. Can spin, can set up rocks, can recover, and can do good damage as well. This is stronger physically with a higher attack stat than the old Avalugg. And finally, the runt of the litter, my 2-pointer, Hisuian Sliggoo. I originally drafted Rapska, realized it's never going to come. It's never going to come to a single game. But Hisuian Sliggoo might, because it gives me a more defensive steel type than Tinkaton. Now, Tinkaton's role is as a defensive Pokemon, so this is kind of redundant. The difference is that this Pokemon has better recovery than Tink. And by that I mean neither of them have any, and Tinkaton can hold leftovers, but this Pokemon is so bulky that it can use Rest to pretty good effect. If you factor in typing, this Pokemon is arguably the bulkiest thing in the game with Eviolite, with the amount of resistances it has, with a great defensive typing in Steel Dragon, and it can be a defensive Wickon. It has super huge Spadef, so I can set up with Curse and use Iron Head along with Rest and Sleep Talk. That's kind of the best set for it. But it can also just do general defensive things, switch in, take no damage with Eviolite, and then hit back with a reasonable base 83 special attack stat. Just love it. So, that's the team. Here's our, cute little family photo. You can see the kids are already starting to grow up. Thank you for watching. Oh my god. Okay. So, if you watch to the end, you'll understand this, and I probably should have put this at the beginning. My girlfriend named all my Pokemon, and I forgot to give them their nicknames in the slides. But she came up with the names, and so the names are our nicknames. We have names such as Felix, the Meowscarada, Daffy, the Quaquaval, Buttplug, the Glamora, Flatfuck Friday, the Clodsire, Gobber, the Dunsparce, Sandra, the Tiflosian, I say, literally me, the Tinkaton, Grandpa, the Slagoop, that was her nickname for Rapska, but we're just gonna transfer it over to Slagoop, Princess, the Histurian Avalug, and of course, Piss Pico for Kilowattrel. In the comments, everyone say, thank you, Piss Pico, and thank you for watching.